All right. Welcome, everyone, to this empowering session, Great with Gray, discovering your most flattering colors to wear with your gray hair. I'm Jen Vax, and I am the founder of Your Color Style, and we are dedicated to empowering women in midlife through the magic of color analysis. I'm here today because I get a lot of questions about women that are either going gray or thinking about growing their gray hair out and really worried about if their colors are going to change, and if what's going to look good on me. Will those colors still look good? I get comments on struggles that colors that they used to love to wear don't really seem right. So whether you're embracing your gray hair right now or you're embarking on the journey of transitioning to gray, I am here to help you discover your best color palette. The transformative power of wearing your most flattering colors isn't just about looking fabulous. Your colors have a profound impact on your confidence and how others perceive you. And they will transform your wardrobe and how you feel about yourself every time you step out into the world. So, in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share with you the art of choosing colors that will go beautifully with your gray hair. Plus, I will reveal what colors may not be your best friends and the reasons why, which is key because I firmly believe that true empowerment comes from understanding the why and the science behind the colors that define you. So, just curious, you could put into the chat how many of you are here because you're feeling like certain colors just don't go with your gray hair and you're just kind of puzzled on what's going to flatter you. So you can say yes, you can say what you're struggling with, and we'll go through those any specific requests as we go through the presentation. Okay. So welcome to a journey of self-discovery through color. So for those of you that are maybe not familiar with your color style is different. It is not seasonal color analysis. It is a proprietary system, a color methodology based on color theory. So you're going to see me talking about color theory throughout this presentation because it's going to share with you the methodology behind your color style and also give you the understanding and the science behind why I recommend certain colors and why some colors may not flatter you and some will. Okay, so you're going to get a little bit of an education if you've never seen my presentations before, but I also think you'll be very glad that you're learning this. So let me go ahead and share my screen so that I can give you some visuals as I'm talking through some of this stuff. All right. All right. Let me see here. Sharing the screen. And here we go. All right. And I'm going to expand this for all of you. One second here. There we are. Okay. So let's get started. And I will be watching the clock a little bit so that we don't run out of time. I don't see the clock when I uh, have it full screen like this. Okay. All right. So when we talk about color and color theory and color analysis, there are certain characteristics of a specific color. These same characteristics break down the steps in the Your Color Style methodology in learning your color palette. So everything is related here and relevant. So there are actually four characteristics to a color. One is the actual hue of the color, but we're not worried about that today. We're going to be focusing on depth, temperature, and chroma. Depth means how light to dark a color is. Temperature is how warm or cool a color is, and chroma is how saturated or muted a color is. Now, The reason this is important is because when we start to talk about colors that are in harmony with your coloring and tone, you will find that you will describe yourself in similar terms. We want to find colors that are in the same coloring and tone range that will be in harmony with you. Okay. And so today we're gonna focus on gray hair and really focus on that more as a than broad strokes. So this will be specifically targeted towards you today. All right. So depth, light, medium, and deep. That's our first step. We'll go into that right away. Temperature, we're going to touch on it and what it means, but we're going to really address one of the common struggles that I hear, which is people with warm undertones. They know they have warm undertones, but now they have cool hair. And we'll talk about how to handle that. And then chroma, clear chroma to muted colors and which ones are going to work best with you and your gray hair. All right, so let's dive in to step one, whether you are light, medium, or deep. And this is why this is important, because with going gray, often, but not all the time, but you may notice that some colors might start to feel off. It's possible because they've gotten too dark for you. It's when you go all gray, you lighten up a little bit. Not everyone does, and I'm going to show you some examples where that breaks that rule, but it is possible that if you had medium brown hair and now you are mostly gray, your tones have lightened. And so therefore your range of colors have lightened. Okay, so I'm going to give you some photo examples just to give you some perspective of what I mean when I talk about these things. But this alone could be a light bulb moment, understanding that so there's only a certain range that's going to be truly flattering for you. So for me, for example, I'm light. I have light eyes, hair, and skin. And that means that my range of color is going to be, let me like pause on this for a second while you can see how everyone here has light hair, light eyes, light skin. All three must be true to be considered light. What that means is that your range of colors is lighter than most, meaning that wearing black, for example, is going to be very, very harsh on you. Very dark colors may feel too heavy and might even potentially age you a little bit, which we certainly don't want. So you can see here, if this is the full color wheel, this is one of my color wheels, going from very light to very, very dark, you can see that most of the dark colors have been removed, and this lighter, more delicate palette is more harmonious. Doesn't mean you couldn't go darker, but this is where we're talking about the most flattering colors for you. So that's light. Medium is whether you don't have really any dark features, like really dark features, and you're not necessarily completely light. So that would put you right in the middle range. And that gives you a medium range of colors from light to dark. These are some examples of women that I would consider more in the medium range. Notice that no one here has necessarily very, very dark hair or dark eyes or dark skin, but they have some pigment to their skin. They have some more medium tones in their hair, and they actually all happen to have light eyes. That's a coincidence. That wasn't intentional. You could have medium dark eyes as well. And in that case, you can see here that pastels may not necessarily flatter you. They might actually feel like they kind of wash you out a little bit. But notice they don't go necessarily too dark either. You're right there in the medium range. And then for deep, you're going to have a very dark feature. Now, if you have gray hair, that doesn't mean that you can't still wear dark colors, especially if you used to have black hair or very, very dark hair and you still have dark eyebrows, very, very dark eyes. You probably can still wear those darker colors. And so this is, you can see, there's a broad range of individuals that I would consider deep. She has very dark hair within her salt and pepper, right? So you can be salt and pepper, but if you have very, very dark hair in there and it makes like a 50-50, you could still definitely wear those darker tones. Okay. So these are all examples of women that would wear darker colors. Okay. And so their range of colors are now out here in the darker range. And it's possible that some of the lighter tones may wash them out. Not always, there's always some rules to be broken, but we're going to stay with the basics for today. So for yourself, as you kind of know your own tones, or even potentially what you might be once you grow your gray hair out, go ahead and put in the chat what you think your depth is, light, medium, or deep. Now, it can be a range. It's okay. You sometimes it feels uncomfortable to commit to one when you might feel like you're in between, and that's actually a very common thing. So go ahead and just put in there what your depth is into the chat. Let it share with everybody. Step two is temperature. We're right on time. Whether you are warm or cool. Now, undertones are definitely something that people get hung up on, and I get it. We're not going to be able to go into a lot of depth on undertones in this particular event simply because it could be an hour all on its own topic. But I'm going to give you um, some tips that might help. One of them is about your gray hair specifically. It's very easy to say, well, my hair is cool, so therefore I must have cool undertones. But that's not always the case. In fact, even the color gray can have warmth in it. Now, this is not true for everyone. If you have warm undertones and your hair is like no, my hair is very cool, that's okay. But sometimes I have friends that have had brilliantly red hair when they were younger and they went all white, but now it looks almost like a pale blonde in a way because it has some warmth. So this might be a clue to your undertones, especially if you can tell if there is some warmth in your gray. So let me give you an example of gray and what I mean. And this is actually fun for you in general when you're shopping for clothes as well or anything. When you're looking at gray, is a gray warm or cool? Gray in general, color theory, now we're back to color theory, is made up of, if we're talking about art, if you mix magenta, cyan, and yellow together in equal portions, you actually get a neutral gray. Okay. If you mixed red, blue, and yellow, you get brown. So this creates gray. If you add a little bit more cyan to the gray, you can start getting these cool grays. And you can notice that this is how this is picking up from white to cool grays. This is very neutral, meaning neither way, just a very neutral gray, which may be yours, and that's okay. And then if you add just a touch of yellow, notice that it gets a little warm. And then you can notice in some individuals here that there is some warmth to her gray hair. It still feels cool on her, no doubt, but it definitely has some warmth. So you can see here's a whole chart. No, by the way, you're going to get this PDF. So you're going to get a follow-up email with the replay link. And I'll also give you the download link to this PDF so you can go back to it and study it and enjoy it a little bit longer than me flipping through things. Okay. So this is the full chart of your grays. And you can see they go from light, very, very light and icy grays and white, all the way to black and charcoal grays. You can even see here, you go even cooler, going to like charcoal blue. And it is possible to have a little bit of blue naturally in your hair if you're running very, very dominantly cool. So this is a woman who has warmth in her hair. You can see it now that I'm pointing it out. You can see it right here. I even pulled out sand and light warm gray. I'm seeing these tones. Besides the fact that she also has very golden brown skin, it's still a clue that she has warm undertones. The same with her. I can also see the same kind of warmth here. And so you can see that these warmer grays kind of pick up those tones in her hair. She is looking very cool. She has much more of a cooler, bluer, pewter, steel gray kind of grays in her hair. Even though you see brown and green in her eyes, that does not necessarily mean that you have warm undertones. Brown and green are actually neutral, and I met many people and analyzed many people with green and brown eyes, hazel eyes that have cool undertones. Okay. So I'm trying to remember why I put the slide in here. So let me think about that for a second. It might occur to me. Well, let's just say this because we're going to go straight into Chroma because I don't want to spend too much time, but I will tell you this about what to think about and why the undertones matter. Okay? Because when we're talking about I remember now I had this color wheel here. When we're talking about harmony, we're talking about colors that are going to be in harmony with your natural tones. So if you have cool undertones, you typically have like a blue undertone. It may not be obvious, but it's cool. It's not warm. It's not yellow. And if that's the case, the colors that are made with blue on the cool side of the color wheel are going to be the most harmonious with you. You probably if you even notice that you might look good in a magenta pink or a cyan or a blue. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have warm undertones, you won't look good in some of these colors. We're talking about just the most harmonious. If you have warm undertones, you've got a little bit of yellow under an undercurrent, if you will, even if it's not obvious. And if that's the case, you're going to be most in harmony with colors that are made with yellow, which is on the right side of the color wheel. Now, if you have gray hair and you know you have warm undertones, or at least you felt like you used to have warm undertones, first, your undertones don't change. They do not change. You have warm undertones 10 years ago, you have warm undertones now, even if your hair is icy cool. So then what does that mean for you? It means that you may notice that these darker warm colors, chocolate browns, camel browns, deep earthy colors may feel off. Not everyone, but this is what I've noticed. When someone has gray hair, white to gray hair, and they have warm undertones, even if they seem neutral, they have some warm tones. I've also noticed that when you're leaning cool now with your gray hair, these deeper, earthier colors basically just don't feel good and they don't look right. It's kind of like putting a pale gray and a brown together. There's something a little off about that. Okay, just not as in harmony. So if that's the case, and you're looking at a warm color palette for you, hopefully with your color style, you're going to want to keep those warm colors light. So you've got your peaches and apricots and melon colors. And if you can wear the brighter colors up to the bright, but once you get into these darker ranges here, maybe you don't wear those as much and focus on your cool colors too, because yes, you can. People with warm undertones can still wear cool colors. It's not just these. So you can see here where there's little stars. And again, you'll get this PDF. These are all considered universal colors for both warm and cool undertones. So you can see that you can still wear turquoises and your cyans and your blues. And just focus on the range. So if you're deep, you're going to focus on deeper colors. If you're light, you're going to focus on lighter. And if you have warm undertones with gray hair, you may want to avoid some of these deeper earthy tones. Okay, so I hope that helps. It's a big question I get all the time. So now let's talk about your chroma. Your chroma has a lot to do with, can you wear really, really bright colors and you rock it, you feel great in it, or do they overpower you? And the same thread of thinking, you also don't necessarily want to wear gray muted colors because with your gray hair may actually drain you further. That's not true for everyone, of course. I say that a lot, but I just want to make sure nothing here is absolute. Everyone is unique. But I have noticed that the more gray you are, sometimes wearing more gray muted colors can actually make you can drain you a little bit versus lifting you up. So let's understand a little bit about it, what it means when I say clear and bright and soft so that you can understand and kind of figure out where you fit. Okay. So when I talk about bright in color theory, we're talking about the brightest color you can imagine. It's a pure color. So I have here two colors that are pure, a golden yellow and a red, meaning the hue is pure. Nothing's been added to it. It hasn't been muted, hasn't been lightened, hasn't been darkened. As soon as you add anything to this color, not that not to warm it up or cool it down, but to change it by adding a complement, adding gray, adding white, adding black to lighten or darken it, you soften it. So on this slide, what you're seeing here is clear chroma colors. The color in chroma is clear, not muted. But as soon as you add white, you soften it a little bit. It's slightly softened, takes the edge off. Notice that. So wearing this bright, intense color feels just overpowering to you, or maybe it doesn't fit your personality. Notice that lightening it a little bit with white takes the edge off, and still is a nice, beautiful color it's clear, not muted. Over here, when you add black, you start to darken it. Same thing happens. You start to take the edge off of that sharpness, okay? When we talk about muted, what we're saying is that we're graying it. It starts to look like, if you think of a blue, it starts to look dusty. If we think about a red or a pink, it starts to look like a dusty pink. And those terms really, when you hear the words dusty, gray, dulled, even, it's the color has been muted. It has been in my experience that women that have dominantly gray hair look best in the clear chroma colors. It doesn't mean that you necessarily look, you can wear the strongest of those colors, but wearing the clear brightens you up and lifts you up. So if you are someone that's light, but these colors are too bright, you might choose soft and light because it's just slightly softened, not muted. All right. And so that's how that, when you see the word soft in your color style, it doesn't necessarily mean muted. It means that it's been softened appropriately for your range of color and for your tones. Okay. All right. So let me show you this. So this is just a good example. It's a great slide actually, because it shows you that now the color starts as muted, not pure. And then those also go light and dark. So notice the lighter you go, the grayer the color is and the darker it is. Now, for some people, these colors are absolutely perfect for them. So it doesn't mean that you shouldn't love these colors, but again, my experience, you might notice that some colors can make you feel a little blah, and it might be because they're a little bit too muted and a little bit too soft for you. Okay. All right. We are almost at the question phase. So, it's funny. I know you're like, why doesn't she know her slides? Why wouldn't she know her slides? Because I don't know. If you knew me, I don't always think linearly, but if I come back to it, I might need to use it for answering a question. Oh, what can I say? All right, universal colors. Now, what if after all of that, you're still like, okay, that's great, but I just tell me some colors that I know that I can wear. All right, so you're still going to need to know your range, meaning your depth, light, medium, or deep, or somewhere in there, because that to me is pretty key. Okay. But there are colors that can be worn by everyone, regardless of your undertones. So I'm using the bright color wheel here. For the most part, these colors are going to work for you given your range. And if this super bright ring here is just too strong for you, well, we have a color palette that is soft and it takes that edge off. But here's the full color wheel, right? And for the colors that suit everyone, we are going to take out almost all the colors that are dominantly made with yellow. Those are really suited only for warm undertones, not for cool undertones. So those are not universal. And what we have left is a really, really nice range here. But there is a small slice of colors that are really only great for cool undertones. So when we take those out and you have this slide, this is the range of colors that works well on everyone, especially with your gray hair. Okay. So the reds, the pinks, purples, turquoises, greens, blue greens, all those colors are going to look fabulous on you. Just pay attention to your range. So if you are light, make sure that you don't go too dark. If you're deep, don't go too light or pastel. Medium, just stay right there in the middle. And you've got some beautiful colors that are your go-to colors, and you don't have to worry so much if you aren't concerned about this giant um, bunch of colors here that we just removed. Now, if you have warm undertones, you're going to want these colors. Let me go look over here in the chat. Everyone's saying hello. My goodness, we have people from Canada, Los Angeles, Texas, West Virginia. Wonderful. Okay, so I have comments here. Some colors within my palette are challenging. My eye colors confuse me. Sometimes they look darker green or brown. Other times they look very light green or brown. Okay, I want to come back to that one. Everyone's posting their range, their depth. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just start at the top here and address some of these questions or comments or both. So for Janet who says some colors within my palette are challenging. Now I know Janet. So Janet, based on the what you've learned so far in this, let me know if I answer some questions. If not, Janet actually is an annual member of Style Masters, so she actually gets this service. So um, I'll be connecting with her after this as well. But she's also beautiful gray hair, and I know that she struggles sometimes with the colors in her palette. It's a very common thing. You are not alone. Katie talks about her eyes. So, like I had kind of mentioned, green and brown. A lot of people will tend to assume that those are warm colors, but they're not. Katie, for example, looks fabulous in the cool colors like bright magenta pinks. And so that can be confusing, but believe it or not, those are actually fairly neutral colors. But she's commenting on whether or not they're darker or lighter, because I'm pretty sure I asked about light, medium, or deep at the point of this chat. If your eyes are kind of feeling like a range of dark to light, they're definitely not going to be deep. That means they're not very, very dark. Very dark means they're not going to vary so much. Dark eyes tend to kind of be a little bit more dense, I guess is the best word for it, and not so variant, going from light to a darker medium. And the same with your hair, Katie. I've seen your hair, and you do have darker tones in your hair as well as in your eyebrows. And so, therefore, I would say for you, you're ranging from medium to deep. And it really is going to have a lot to do with how good you feel about being those colors. But since your eyes are kind of a medium dark and your hair is becoming more and more dominantly silver, I would choose medium for you. Okay, which doesn't change your palette, it just changes how dark you might go. Although I know that you like to wear white and black, so please, I want to say this to everybody right now. If there is something you love to wear, I am not here to tell you that you're wrong. The goal here is to find colors that you feel really good in and that give you confidence and when you look in the mirror, you like what you see and you feel like $1,000,000. It doesn't always mean that I'm right. It doesn't always mean you should or should not wear a certain color. I'm going to give you my expert recommendation, but I want to make sure you know you should do what feels really good to you. And if you love wearing black, well, then wear black. If you ask me my opinion, I'm going to tell it, but I would never tell you not to wear something because sometimes people feel really good in certain colors and that's how it should be. Okay. All right. Um, okay. We have a question about chroma. Um, um, and let me go ahead here and let me see here. If I'm just, some of the universals seem more cool to me. Yes, I'll get to that in a second. Um, Oh, thank you. Somebody's been reading my books. All right. So the comment is, as I've matured greatly, my chroma has me confused. Okay. I'm gonna let's talk about that really quickly because we have a few minutes here. Let's talk about chroma. Um, in your color style, uh, the bright includes the brightest clear chrome, the sharp bright color, before it goes soft with white or soft with black. Most, not all, but most of the color palettes in your color style that are considered bright will have those sharp colors, but then they go softer with the white and softer with the black. The soft color palettes are basically taking that brightest color and slightly softening it. So if you are feeling like super bright, sharp colors aren't your thing, or you're kind of falling away from it because your hair is getting softer or feeling like it's looking a little bit more softer, then don't wear those sharp colors. Wear the slightly softened one instead. In your color style, there is a warm color palette for light to medium or medium to deep, and in it has both the bright and slightly softened versions of each other because the rest of the colors are kind of the same. So don't get so hung up on, oh, should I or should I not wear that bright color? If it feels great and you love wearing it or you have a special occasion, then wear it. It's fun. But if it's not your personality or it's you know that it's just too much, go with the slightly softened version like I showed you on that slide with a little bit of white or a little bit of black added, takes that edge off, and then it's going to be very flattering. To be honest, I don't wear colors like this all the time. I wear it a lot for being on camera, being on stage, when I go to events, that kind of a thing, because I want to stand out and have those brighter colors. But they are always a little bit on the lighter side, except for this red. This red is pretty bright. But most of the time, I actually go a little softer, just a little bit lighter for me, because it just feels a little bit better on a daily basis. Okay. All right. The universal colors, they are a little on the cool side. Isn't that interesting? Now, the reason is that, well, how do I explain this as best I can? Because in some ways, there's no good reason, but we look at colors that are natural to us, that we naturally have. And even individuals with warm undertones still have some cool features. You've heard the vein tests, which I don't believe in the vein test, but nevertheless, you still have some blues and purples in your tones somewhere. You may have blues and greens in your eyes. I've also noticed that if you are dominantly warm, someone that says has golden hazel brown eyes and golden brown hair that's very dominant, they actually may pop wearing a color on the opposite side of the color wheel, like a blue or a purple, which you wouldn't think of that as the case. The difference is that the universe, if you were to choose a warm color that was made with mostly warm colors between red and yellow, there is no cool quality to those colors whatsoever, and so therefore not harmonious at all with someone with cool undertones. And if they wear those warm colors, they'll start to bring out yellow in their skin that's really not their key characteristic, and it's going to make them look a little sallow. So the colors that you're seeing on that color wheel, green, turquoise, and believe it or not, blue, they all actually have a little bit of yellow in them and are still a little harmonious. And then for the ones that don't seem logical, where there's the royal blue and the purples, those are going to look great on individuals that are dominant in a color. So when I'm all blonde and I'm dominantly a golden yellow, plum looks great on me because it's the complement to me and makes me pop. That's why if you have bright red hair, royal blue makes someone pop because it's the complement to them on the color wheel. Okay. And so there's just a little of that. I know it's a little geeky and a little sciencey, but it's the best way that I can kind of comment on that. I have here, I still love the clear and bright colors, even though I'm quite gray. I think I am medium rather than soft, and I wonder if that's because my eyebrows are still pretty dark and my skin is light, my eyes are blue. So this is a very common thing. It's very common to be gray with light eyes and light skin, but if your eyes are if your eyebrows are still naturally very dark, that tells me that you can probably have a little bit more of a darker colors to you. So I would definitely choose medium and see how that feels, because you might need a little contrast. You might need a little bit of a pop there. And so even though you might be completely gray, I would agree. I think you should try those clearer, brighter colors. I think they will really make you lighten you up. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions or comments they want to share before we call it? And I hope that this was really helpful. So in just a little while, I will be sending out the replay so you can share it with your friends and take a look at it along with the PDF and a reminder for the special. Don't forget, it expires tomorrow. This is not something that I offer all the time, but I hope that you take advantage of it. And thank you for all of you who join me live. I love it when everyone joins live. It just makes me happy. So I hope this was great for you. And I will see you online. Bye for now. Thank you so much.